There's breaking news at 10. Fort Myers Beach firefighters battling a multi-RV fire that's taking place at the Red Coconut RV Park.
Right now, we know at least one unit is a total loss. Our Megan Contreras was the first reporter on the scene this morning. She joins us now live via phone with the breaking details. Megan?
Well, that's right. At this time, we are still waiting to hear back from the fire marshal, but I am being told right now that all hands are on deck, and that's why we haven't heard from him just yet. Right now, firefighters have been able to put this fire out, and fire crews, along with crews from Advanced Disposal, are currently out checking the garbage truck and the scene that was on fire here just a little bit ago. You know, we were the first on scene this morning. We did witness the garbage truck and a mobile trailer engulfed in flames. You know, one of the biggest concerns out here was the gas explosion. We are told by residents living here at staying here at the RV park, that the garbage truck is run on natural gas, and there was a propane tank near that trailer that went up in smoke. You know, while I was out here, I did hear multiple explosions, and the firefighters were being told to keep us back. They weren't able to put up that caution tape just yet because of how fast this fire was growing. But now that caution tape has been up, and they've been able to secure a perimeter around where that fire did happen. Once again, I do want to let you know that we are waiting to hear back exactly what happened inside the Red Coconut RV Park along Star Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach. We are waiting to hear back from the fire marshal. You know, at one point, onlookers did think that this place was going to blow up, but I do want to reassure everybody that this is now under control, and fire crews are just surveying the scene and trying to complete their investigation at this time. We will have a live report coming up at noon. For now, we are live in Fort Myers Beach. Megan Contreras, Wink News Now.
Thank you. Also breaking at 10, 3 police officers have been shot near Los Angeles, 1 in Corona, 2 in Riverside. The Riverside Police Department says one of its officers has died. The conditions of the 2 other officers were not immediately available. Initial reports say the shootings could be related back to a suspected gunman, Christopher Jordan Dorner. He's a former LAPD officer wanted in connection with the double murder of a couple in Irvine. Authorities say Dorner wrote a multi-page manifesto in which he threatened to kill law enforcement officials and implicated himself in the Irvine murders. Also developing at 10, Lee County deputies continued their second overnight robbery investigation along Palm Beach Boulevard this week. This one was at the Wendy's at Buckingham Road and Palm Beach Boulevard. Right now, 1 suspect is in custody. Another remains on the loose.
And detectives think this robbery is related to one at a Dunkin' Donuts at the same intersection and a Domino's just down the street. Vanessa Rufus has been live out there this morning. Now she has the latest.
Well, just within the past couple minutes, we saw a second crime scene unit arrive here on scene, and we were told earlier today by Lee County Sheriff Mike Scott that they would be waiting until the sun came up and it was a little bit lighter outside to complete some of their on-site investigation. So that's definitely what we're seeing right now. As you two mentioned, this happened in the early morning hours. They say that the call came in around 1:50 this morning. They say that the restaurant was closed and there were still employees, however, on site completing some of their duties for the evening. Deputies tell us that's when the 2 men believed to have attempted to rob this place showed up. Shortly afterwards, deputies arrived on scene, and as the men were running away through the parking lot, that's when we're told gunfire was exchanged between deputies and the 2 men. We're told that nobody was injured in this exchange of gunfire, but 1 person was taken into custody. The second person got away on foot, and we're hearing from the sheriff that there's a very limited description of this man. He was wearing some sort of disguise over his face, perhaps a t-shirt, we're told, wrapped around his face to disguise his appearance. We were able to go across the street and speak exclusively with a Wendy's manager who was able to update us on some of the conditions of his employees. He says that some of them did receive medical treatment, but that was merely a precaution. Take a listen.
You know, we're just doing precautionary things right now, making sure they're okay. So, but they're okay, and we're just happy everyone, all the crew are safe.
Now, right now, we are told that the person in custody is at the sheriff's office being questioned, and they're definitely looking at seeing whether there's a connection between this robbery here and one that happened Tuesday across the street at the Dunkin' Donuts, as well as one that happened Friday at the Domino's Pizza. And they'll certainly be asking this person about that, as well as who this other suspect on the loose might be. In the meantime, as well, this Wendy's obviously closed down for the time being, and we're told this could be a very active scene until the early afternoon. And just prepare for that. But we're told earlier the drive-through for the CVS pharmacy that was closed earlier is now reopened, so that is good to go in that area. We'll keep you posted on any new details that come through. For now, we're live in Lee County. Vanessa Rufus, Wink News Now.
Also at the top of our news this morning at 10 is a major winter storm expected to impact the Northeast, New England, Friday into Saturday. They've already got blizzard watches in effect. Some significant storm is coming that way, maybe, what, 2-3 feet of snow?
Yeah, and just in time for everybody from Boston, the team and the fans to come down here and escape it.
Come down today, folks, because Friday and Saturday, Boston, New York City, expecting 1 to 2 feet. Isolated spots could see more than 30 inches of snowfall. We are taking tomorrow. We'll talk more in detail about that storm plus our weather here in a few moments.
And all new this morning, the weekly unemployment claims came in today, and they fell 5,000 last week and brings the 4-week average down to a 5-year low. The 4-week average fell to 350,500 because of seasonal factors like reducing applications. The weekly applications for unemployment benefits, they fell by 5,000 to a seasonally adjusted 366,000. So here's how Wall Street is taking that news and more, and doesn't look good. The Dow's off already, 47, almost 48 points at the moment. 13,938 is where it is at the moment. The Dow is losing ground again as the unemployment claims seem to improve some and not as down as far as they have been, but off by now 51 points. Some strong retail sales came in this morning, and still the Dow is off.
Also developing at 10, United Airlines says it's removing the Boeing 787 from service for the entire month of February. The airline says it will pull the Dreamliner off the February schedule following that battery problem investigation. United flies 6 of the new planes and has replaced them with other aircraft to avoid flight cancellations. Federal officials say it could be weeks before they know exactly what caused a 787 battery fire last month. The NTSB will update the investigation later today.
There's new developments this morning when it comes to budget negotiations. Today, the government is talking about sequestration. It's a Washington word for budget cuts coming.
Some $1.2 trillion in cuts could be on the way, but as Susan McGinnis shows us, some of the cuts are already hitting the military in a big way.
The USS Truman was scheduled to pull out of Norfolk, Virginia tomorrow. Up to 1 million people could lose their jobs. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Washington.
And right now, take a live look. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta is on Capitol Hill testifying about last year's terrorist attack in Benghazi. Officials are expecting Panetta will bring up the internal review of the U.S. facilities in Libya. Remember that 4 Americans, including the U.S. ambassador, were killed in the September 11th attack. There is the Defense Secretary at the table there now as this hearing is just getting underway.
Also on Capitol Hill this morning, nomination hearings are underway for President Obama's pick for the head of the CIA. John Brennan will sit down before the Senate Intelligence Committee. That hearing comes as lawmakers received classified legal memos on drone strikes, and Brennan helped to manage the drone program. Nicole Papageorge is following that story here in the studio at 10.
Alyssa, the president's own party threatened to hold up Brennan's nomination unless they got these documents. The memos have classified information about the targeted killing of American-born terrorists. Congressional leaders will now learn more about the deadly drone strikes and about other controversial CIA interrogation techniques like waterboarding during the George W. Bush administration. The drone program puts President Obama in an awkward position. As a senator and as a presidential candidate, he criticized the Bush administration's anti-terrorism policy of enhanced interrogation or torturing suspects. Now, the Obama administration is also under fire for what critics believe is acting outside the law.
We have a president who is doing something that even President Bush didn't do, which is to order the killing of a United States citizen without clear evidence of an immediate attack.
Outrage over that interrogation program during the Bush administration ruined Brennan's chances to lead the CIA in President Obama's first term. We'll have to wait and see what Congress does now. Rob?
All right, Nicole, members on the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force are planning a news conference today where House Democrats are unveiling their proposals for curbing gun violence. The Democrats' recommendations are to include an assault-style weapons ban and a limit on high-capacity magazines that carry more than 10 rounds of ammunition. Vice President Biden, who chaired that task force, is urging the lawmakers to vote for what they believe and not for what they think might benefit their political career.
Now at 10, Wink News has learned Florida Senator Marco Rubio will deliver the GOP response to President Obama's State of the Union address. The Republican address to the nation will focus on the party's plan to help the middle class. Senator Rubio will also compare the party's commitment to limited government with President Obama's plan. Both the State of the Union and the Republican address to the nation will be delivered next Tuesday, February 12th. Well, happening today, spring training unofficially kicks off here in Southwest Florida. JetBlue Park is welcoming the Red Sox equipment truck later tonight.
Right, and all that equipment then gets unloaded tomorrow. The first spring training workouts for the team are early next week when pitchers and catchers officially report they're coming in over the weekend. Boston's first spring training game, they start a little bit earlier than everybody else. It's scheduled for February 21st. And at 10, creating the largest U.S. airline. Why some think American and U.S. Airways are getting close to a deal. Katie?
And one of the low pressure systems that's going to be moving into the Northeast, producing blizzard conditions, well, that's currently making its way through the northern panhandle. So will we be seeing any rainfall out of this system? I'll have the answer after the break.
We touched on what's going to happen up in New England at the beginning of the newscast, how bad the weather's going to get. We have just the opposite problem.
Yeah, theirs has been deteriorating. Ours has gotten better all week.
Exactly right. And even though we are going to see a weak cold front pass through tomorrow morning, it's not going to be a big game changer for us here. As a matter of fact, temperatures will still remain above average. So
good.
You can't beat it.
We're in good shape.
If you're here visiting, it's a great time to be visiting. Let's put it that way. Above average temperatures in the forecast from now through the next 7 days. We are taking a live look toward downtown Fort Myers. Beautiful blue shower thanks to that cold front passing through. Saturday, Sunday, expect plentiful sunshine, highs in the lower 80s.
On the money this morning, merger talks are intensifying between U.S. Airways and American Airlines. The Wall Street Journal now reports the airlines are working out final details on that merger. Any deal would create the largest U.S. airline by traffic. The paper also reports the new airline could be called American and would likely be based in Dallas. That's the current home of American Airlines.
Video game retailer GameStop facing some financial issues this morning after its stock dropped 7%. The news came on rumors that the next generation Microsoft Xbox would not allow players to use used video games. That would be an industry first and a major blow to GameStop, which generates a significant portion of its revenue from the sale of secondhand games.
Well, it's official this morning. The cat has killed the iron. Well, at least when it comes to Monopoly.
Right. Not all Monopoly fans, though, are happy with this change, and some are suggesting different pieces altogether. Jeannie Mose is going to take a look.
There's nothing ironic about the end of the iron. No more iron landing on Park Place. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
It was only a matter of time, I guess, till they tried to shake things up.
I guess, they've changed pieces before, but obviously never with this component.
Right.
Facebook wasn't around for everybody to get involved. It just sort of happened.
I'm kind of surprised they took the cat, though.
Well, I guess cat lovers united.
Yeah, it's only, just hang on to your Monopoly now, though. That's going to be a collector's item, I feel like.
Keep the iron.
The iron one, yeah, exactly. We'll be right back.
We are on top of breaking news for you this morning at 10. You're looking live. Fort Myers Beach firefighters on the scene of an RV fire at the Red Coconut RV Park.
We'll continue to follow this all morning with a live report at noon. We'll talk about an overdue fine. A New York library reports it just received a book that was due 55 years ago.
Can you imagine? The book was last seen in the library April 10th of 1958. From the condition, the librarians say it took some kind of adventure. But the mystery remains, who had it all this time? And about that fine, library officials say the book came in with a mystery $100 check. Adjusted for inflation, though, the fine would only be about $50.
Wouldn't you like to know what kind of journeys that thing has been on?
I know, where's it been and how did it find its way back to the library?
Yeah. I'm grateful now that you can do the Kindle and it expires on its own.
Absolutely, and a nice day to enjoy the Kindle out by the pool.
Okay, thanks for joining us for Wink News at 10.
We update the top stories at noon.
For news anytime, go to winknews.com and on radio at 1200 a.m. Wink News Radio.